Hello, all you fine-feathered individuals. It is League Unlocked. My name's Eric, here with Mark, and we continue the world's preview bonanza because there's a lot to get through. You got your power rankings, your team rankings, position rankings. Now it's time to fully preview the start of the event. We're talking play-in stage today, and I am fully of the ideology that this is the spiciest play-ins we're going to have in a while because of the new format.
Yeah, I'm really a fan of this new format. I don't know, obviously, if we're going to see it continue in the future, but I think that this will give some very exciting and spicy results that can maybe sway some minds that this would be something that you want to do, not just under the unfortunate circumstances of 22 teams instead of 24 to Worlds. This, though, is going to be just no doubt a play-in event that is going to ramp up the level of hype for Worlds. Get ready, folks. It's about to begin.
And even last year, you think about, people love to meme on the play-in stage, but last year you had Clutch finishing 2-2, needing a tiebreaker to even finish the top of their group, and then you had the 5-game series against Unicorns of Love and Splice, and you had Damwon styling on people, as you would expect. But even last year was pretty hype, so I got high expectations coming into this one. Obviously, the biggest story or matchup is going to be Mad Lions versus Team Liquid. They're both in Group A. Only one can get automatically through to the main stage without having to play a best of 5. And listen, we've seen some best of 5s. You had Cloud9 against Gambit, the Splice one that I mentioned. It can get touchy. Even TSM versus Gam. You don't want to go into a best of 5 if you don't have to.
Yeah, absolutely. As we've talked about this play-in stage and talking about certain teams like Team Liquid and, a veteran roster and young tactical, this is a great opportunity to get more experience. That's all with a little asterisk that says, yeah, but you got to win your games and win your series to get out of this point. Otherwise, it's a total loss, and you're running into things like the Gigabyte Marines, like Unicorns of Love last year, which, look, there are those teams in Group A and Group B this year in play-ins that have that little bit of a potential, that have that chance to not only, will I say, in a best of 5, find a way to find their form, find their play style, and push you to the brink.
Sure.
But even in this single round robin, there's going to be chances for these teams that if you slip up, if you make a mistake, the level of play from these teams, this isn't going up against the 8th or 7th team in your region. This is going up against the best of the best. They're going to be prepared, minor region or not, to take advantage of your mistakes.
We've seen G2, EDG in the past drop a game in the group stage when it was the different format where it was less competitive in that first round robin. So that's not out of the realm of possibility that you could even drop 2 games because Mad or Team Liquid, they're at least dropping 1 when they play each other. If they drop another one, all of a sudden you got a 3rd seed for one of them, maybe. It could be absolutely insane. But the EU versus NA, it's there right away. Who do you actually favor when it's best of 1s to finish as that top seed? Because they're still the 2 huge favorites to get out. But who plays better in a best of 1s? I feel like you got to still lean a little towards Mad Lions.
I want to say Team Liquid. I want to get into this, NA pride right now and say, look, it's play-ins, it's NA. We can at least make our way through here. I can't give that vote of confidence when a team like the Mad Lions is right there to contend with you for that number 1 spot to get yourself out of the group automatic. It's going to be difficult. And as you said, I think in a best of 1, what we've seen this year, how I trust the coaching staff and what we've seen from Mad Lions over the course of a year and a half, really extending from Splice, you got to go with Mad Lions. And it's not, anything to say against the veterans on Team Liquid and, what tactical can provide. You just got to side with the Mad Lions, what they've shown through the summer of the LEC split. And again, as I say, the coaching staff, that extra advantage, that experience, and especially that experience at Worlds as a coaching staff, that's where I'm expecting to find that additional edge that can push Mad Lions over Team Liquid.
And you'd want to say the play style of Mad suits a best of 1 situation even better. Now, Team Liquid did go 15-3 when it came to best of 1s and actually didn't look as good when playoffs rolled around because, well, they lost 2 best of 5s. But it's all about cheese, right? Especially if you're some of these underdog teams. That's the secret recipe to success when you're talking about best of 1s. I don't think either of these squads will do that, but I will say if you're looking for a more interesting draft, I would expect it to come from Mad Lions more so than Team Liquid. They're kind of we play the game right, we play it properly, we know what the meta is, and we will execute. Mad Lions might not be like that.
Yeah, no, the Mad Lions are the Mad Lads, man, and they're going to be coming out on the Rift and looking to do whatever the coaching staff and themselves come up with. And that's the thing that you're looking at in this matchup. I think when you talk about the bot lane, I think that is an area where Mad Lions can be a little bit more creative than Team Liquid, and what Carzzy and Kaiser specifically have been able to provide as far as their champion pools. That's not to say Core JJ can't expand his champion pool, and what he plays extremely well. But I think that as far as the duo of that bot lane for Mad Lions provides a little bit more creativity, as well as I'd be looking at the jungle picks. That's something that I think Broxa can adapt to, but I would be putting a better bet on someone, even a rookie like Shadow, to show a little bit more as far as the champion pool of what we're seeing now, and especially heading towards Worlds, where again, it's not about slow pace of pay. It's not about carries. And yeah, we can talk about Brox's Lee Sin, which is fantastic, but that's Lee Sin. A sinner. You gotta find your advantages and all these other type of things. And hey, LS can tell you, you're better to do that in a solo queue than you are to do on a world stage.
I think the biggest mismatch in this matchup probably is in the jungle, and it's going over to Shadow, which is crazy to think about when you're talking about, 2018 Broxa on the world stage. But it hasn't been the same level on Team Liquid, and Shadow, we've seen him annihilate Yankos, we've seen him annihilate Selfmade in those head-to-head matchups, so that's probably the most one-sided matchup in this game.
And that one, though, on the Team Liquid side, I would be giving you that little bit of hope to watch out for. With Shadow, there's been some inconsistency. We've seen the Lee Sin pop-offs against G2, followed up by some really questionable performances for 1.5 weeks or so type of situation. So these type of spells, these little moments can creep in, and you can see that in experience. And someone like Broxa, with his steady play and how experienced he is, can absolutely punish that big time on the Rift. And that is something where, look, that's what's going to have to be, as I'm talking about the bot lane and the creativity that you can bring through, that's going to be something in the jungle that you're going to have to watch the execution on Shadow's side and the nerves and everything else, which, look, seem mostly okay throughout the LEC playoffs. But again, stepping onto that stage for Worlds is a different scenario. Again, gonna need to prove yourself.
The other juicy matchup is in that bot lane, and it's not even necessarily the AD carries, because it's the supports where you have the MVP from NA, and Kaiser was getting legitimate recognition and MVP votes, especially earlier on in the split. So we're talking about two supports that were fully in our top 10 support rankings, and engaged champions, and especially on Core JJ's side, hook champions, are going to be a fun time whenever these guys hit the Rift.
Yeah, those are going to be hotly contested. And as you say, with that Mad Lions bot lane, again, there's so much youth on the Mad Lions team, and that's been the trend all, the story about them all year, right, is how successful this youth movement for them has been.
Total opposite of Liquid, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. And the potential that they can build, right, for the next year or two type of situation and what you're going to get. Obviously, Kaiser is a big part of that. As you said, someone that was getting recognition for some MVP type of votes, all support, everything of that nature. And again, when you look at the support pool that we have in the LEC, out of all the positions, I would say that that's probably one of the weakest as far as the growth and what potential we have for some young players. And Kaiser's at the very front of that, being that star, prospect type of thing. Heading to Worlds, going up against Core JJ, and the rest of the supports that you're going to come up against. This is fantastic experience and exposure for someone like Kaiser.
Mad Lions are looking for a little bit of redemption with how their playoff run ended. I mean, Team Liquid is also, but they're the younger team. First time at Worlds for everybody not named Humanoid on that roster. I feel like they're going to come with something to prove. I got them coming out as that top seed, going right to the main event, and it just wouldn't be North America without having to play some best of fives in a play.
Yeah, and look, when I'm talking about all these young players and even tactical on Team Liquid, and I'm saying, look, they're going to get experience, all these other type of things. Sure, that's great. But at the same time, when I'm talking about that experience that they're going to be gaining, there still needs to be the expectation on performing, because absolutely, they're good enough to do that. They're good enough to have these expectations on them that they should be able to perform, especially in the play-in stage already, that you've got to be one of the dominating type of players. And that's what I want to see. I want to see, yes, getting experience, tactical getting experience, the entirety of the young Mad Lions getting experience. But at the same time, I've got that expectation that you're going to perform, that you're going to pay off on what we've seen throughout the year and keep that going forward. Just because there's going to be some nerves and I can understand a slip up, a mistake here or there, doesn't mean that you shouldn't be expecting some good execution and some strong plays from the two of these teams.
Yeah, and it's the same old thing. You can't get it done in the play-in stage. My man, it's not going to get easier on the main stage. You've got to at least prove yourself here. Either way, both these squads are the overwhelming favorites to advance out of Group A. But that doesn't mean we can't have some kind of upsets coming out of that first group. And there are still some strong teams. Listen, every team in play-ins is strong as much as we like to meme on the minor regions. These guys, we're talking about Mad Lions and Team Liquid. They didn't even win their split. Everyone else from the minor regions, they're at least the champions of their region. So we look at the other teams in Group A, and I think immediately the team you talk about as maybe the biggest potential for upset is Supermassive from TCL. Most of them, everybody but Bo Lulu on this squad, has been to Worlds before. That's crazy.
Yeah, there's a ton of experience on this Supermassive squad and a ton of experience looking to push forward, looking to get that next step, looking to get to the group stage. They don't care about play-ins. They've been here before. They've won the TCL. They don't. Again, this is all like gravy. This is all extra whipped cream, whatever, man. They're like, yeah, this is good, but I'm hungry. Give me the main event. That's what I'm here for. That's what they're trying to push for. So absolutely, you cannot be sleeping on them. And what again, I'm still going through my preparation for Worlds. What I've seen of Supermassive this year and how they play, you cannot be sleeping on them, because any type of time in a single game, in this single round robin, they can find ways to cheese a win absolutely off of you. And look, again, as you said it before, you're already having this head-to-head matchup against Mad Lions Team Liquid. One of you is coming away with a loss. That's just the way it works, folks. And if you lose again to Supermassive, well, see you later, boys.
You might be talking about falling into that third seed then. And then who knows? You could be playing against Unicorns of Love in the best of 5. Well, then things get legitimately dicey. But Supermassive, yeah, a lot of the headlines are Cacao because he's such a beloved. He has such a big fan following, such a personality, and he dominated in the playoffs as well. But some of the numbers, or just the picks from Zeitnot in the playoff run, because Supermassive ran pretty much through the whole thing. They played 3 different best of 5s. The champions he played, let's see if they put some emphasis on their bot lane carry. Caitlyn, Vayne, Jinx, Callista, and Aphelios. Those are the picks he did in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's certainly going to be something where if you're preparing for them, that's going to be a point where you want to be shutting them down. Absolutely, because look, if Zeitnot's not going, when you've watched a lot of these games, yeah, sure, you can find a little pop off here or there, but if he's not able to contribute in these team fights, it's a totally different story for how Supermassive looks and what type of threat that they pose in the group. So that is certainly something where I think if you're preparing, you can ban out a couple of these things, come up with a counter. That can be something that certainly can swing the favor and can really, turn this world the wrong way around for Supermassive.
And Armut in the top lane is a guy who performed in 2019 as well on that Royal Youth team when they came to Worlds. We'll forget about some of the outplays that Huni did to them. Huni finally figured out how to play later on in the play-ins. But
every once in a while, Huni shows up and gets the Huni moments.
Yeah, of course, and that's why the highlight reel is so great for him.
That's why you pay $2 million.
But it's a very well-rounded Supermassive team. Even though a lot of the carry eggs go into the Zeitnot basket, it's still relatively well-rounded around them and got them as the third seed. But yeah, they could definitely get a win off of Team Liquid and or Mad Lions. The other two squads, you have INTZ from Brazil, and this was not the team that was expected to win this split in Brazil. They weren't the playoffs coming into playoffs. There's a lot of familiar names. Envy has been on the international stage before, picked up the most player of the game awards throughout the summer split. And Macau and Redbird are household names in Brazil. I can't see them taking down any of those top 3 teams we just talked about.
It's going to be hard pressed to find these upsets because, again, when you look at this group, and that's not meant to disparage the rest of it, you look at the very top, and there again, as you say, with a Team Liquid and a Mad Lions, there's a clear elite level in this group, and then even a Supermassive, which is a very strong team that can challenge and put up some fights here. This is that little drop off that I want to say, and I want to say it's a drop off because yes, I'd love to see INTZ come through and pull off some of these upsets, find ways to get it. But as you said, these were not the guys that you had expected to come through in the summer. And at the same time, the way that they came through, the way the play looks from them, it's not exactly what you think is going to hold up against these top level teams. And again, that's the big test. That it's not going to be about can you beat the fifth, can you beat even Supermassive. It's going to be about getting a victory off of one of Team Liquid or Mad Lions. That's going to be the big difference maker.
For me, INTZ, I've got them in that fifth spot in this group, getting eliminated before the best of fives. I'm sorry, Brazil. I know it's a massive following, but the other team, the OPL, Legacy Esports, we got to talk about. And I said INTZ, they weren't expected to run through the playoffs. You know, a team like Pain had kind of been dominating more so in the regular season. Legacy, they crushed the entire year. We're talking spring and summer, 35-7 overall record in the regular season. They annihilated through playoffs. You know the drill in the OPL. You got a Korean import, and they seem to dominate. Tapoon in the top lane. He led the league in solo kills with 15. He was also at the top of the table for damage percentage, experience differential at 15, CSD at 15 among top laners, and he played 11 different champions.
And this is where it gets very dangerous because the overall level of play and you know what people maybe either fairly or unfairly, I think it's a little bit of both, obviously, underrate the OPL, obviously, getting into it and what you've seen from international events. Legacy can surprise. That is the one that I want to talk about, especially given what the meta is shaping up and what we expect the game to be played at play-ins right now. Expect a lot of attention to the top lane. Expect the possibility for carries to come through and really make it a nightmare up there. And when you look at some of the top laners that you have, and even talking about Team Liquid, talking about Mad Lions, that's not the focal point of strength. That's not where they want to be playing through and putting carry pressure. Legacy, that's what they want to do. And this is the type of situation where you can put that power up there. You can put that pressure point on a team, can create some mistakes, some misexecution on that side, and absolutely create the perfect storm to take up that upset.
Remember, it's just one game. At least in previous play-ins, you got that second look at a squad. Okay, you got us the first time, but we know what we did wrong or what you did to surprise us. It's just a one-off. Maybe you get a tiebreaker scenario for seeding, but it's so volatile on such a huge stage. You know that these teams are going to be nervous whether or not they talk about it. It's just one win. So, yeah, I think it's possible that Legacy can come up with an upset against any team. I mean, it's less likely against the top two, but they could beat some people and really throw a wrench into what people have for their small play-in brackets. Don't sleep on the OPL.
That's what you're looking at, man. And I'm telling you, if they stick to their guns, right? You stick to again, they did it all spring. They did it all summer, and they got here. You're pretty damn sure that they're going to stick and know what works well for them. And as I said, it's that top lane play. It's that carry of what you want. And again, heading into this group, we've talked about it with other things as far as mainly the group stage of the Worlds and other teams. Having that ability to play in your solo lanes, to play in that solo lane top side and put that pressure and power there, that's going to be a difference maker. And some teams will not be able to respond to it. And when you look at this group A, yeah, you can see some teams that might have trouble responding to pressure and power in that top side.
So now we look at Group B, and it's much more clear cut. I feel like LGD, of course, anytime you have an LPL team, they're the huge favorites. I think we could both agree they're the large favorites to finish first in this group. I'd be surprised if they did drop a game. That being said, we just ranted that it's just one game. So yeah, they could definitely be dropping one. And usually you might say PSG Talon is the second. I mean, they're the team from the LMS or PCS now, but because of all of these visa issues that they have, they're starting 2/5 of the roster that they had in playoffs. You have Tank and River dealing with quarantine/visa issues, won't be there at all in the play-in stage. So you have the AHQ guys coming over in Unified and Kongyu, and now even they're starting AD Carry. Unified's not going to be there, so they're bringing in D from Machi Esports, who's already at the event. If they go through play-ins, it's like, guys, I can't play anymore. I'm on the other team.
I got a game against G2, guys. Sorry. It's wild, man. That situation, and of course, it's one where you got to do the best you can. And look, this year is a wacky year, and everyone's scrambling to make do, and I'm not going to fault them for that type of situation, but it's certainly one when you're asking me to make predictions. You're asking me to evaluate this group. It's extremely hard to evaluate a team adding in players like this. And then Oh, wait, you can't have that one. We got to add in another player. So you're again swapping, swapping. It's all over the place for them. So it's so hard to get a grasp, get a hold, get a read, make any type of expectation for them. So I think you're right in saying that Group B, I think for most people, your only expectation right now has got to be a clean performance from LGD, because what we've seen from them in the LPL, what we saw from them even in their losses to Suning and then their victory against IG, yeah, you got to be thinking about LGD clean sweeping through this group. And as we said, yeah, one little mistake, one little slip up, one, overestimation of these teams that you're going to go up against absolutely can be your downfall. But that's also that you should take note in just that little bit of level of what we expect from someone like LGD, even compared to the teams like Team Liquid and Mad Lions as far as their power.
But what the PCS struggles or PSG's visa issues do is it really opens it up for Unicorns of Love. They are thrilled that they got dropped into this group because now they're the clear favorites for second behind LGD. Even though they're from one of the more weak regions coming into this event, 39-3 they went over all of 2020. That's playoffs, regular season included. And the core of this, Boss and Anasik and Nomans, we've seen them on the international stage before. These are the guys who took Splice to 5 games. So this is at all costs. If you're Mad Lions or Team Liquid, you do not want Unicorns of Love in a best of 5.
Hey, we had C9, the American version of C9. I'll say it that way, going through. And spring was so great. They were, uncontested in the power that they proved. And the only test that they needed was international competition. We all know how summer went. And unfortunately, there's no chance for international competition.
Missed the test. Oh, no. We were late.
But Russian C9. Oh, boy. Russian C9. That's what we're talking about right here. These boys, the Unicorns of Love. That has been the spring uncontested. Summer uncontested. This is their moment. This is what we talked about them a bit earlier, that they've done it. They've done it all. They've done all that they can this year to prove that they are a good level team, to prove that they deserve their shot here at Worlds against the very best of the best. This is your opportunity. This is your only opportunity to show that you are better and keep going, is to beat these teams, because look, they took care of business every single way, A through Z. There was nothing else for them to do this year in their region as far as winning was concerned. They got it all, baby. And now it's time to prove it on the international level. And as you said, all the troubles and things going around PSG is a perfect situation, perfect storm for Unicorns to storm in and take that 2 seed almost, without question.
And I think the Unicorns are the only team outside of those other 3 pool ones that we've talked about that you can drop in one of the main stage groups. And I could say, you know what? They could actually spice things up a little. They could take a game or 2 off of some of these teams. Obviously depends on what group they get dropped in, but I don't have the confidence to say that with pretty much any of the other teams.
Yeah, and look, again, this is an X factor, right? This is talking about not only just the players. You look at the coaching staff with Unicorns of Love. Sheepy's been around a long time, and my man has been to Worlds for sure as well. And so he has that experience in his back pocket. And obviously after last year as well, he's got that experience to pull out something gutsy, pull out some crazy picks in this group stage of the play-ins to get through, to make the biggest impact that they can. So do not sleep on these Unicorns of Love, because I tell you what, even if you are thinking yourself are better, you're going to run into the buzzsaw that is those Unicorns of Love.
Play-in stage gets going on Friday. That's it today for Liga Unlocked. Mark and Eric with you guys. Thanks for hanging out. We'll catch you on the Flippity Flop.